Hi everyone! So this is my final project for educating exceptional students. In this recording, I'm just going to go over what we learned over the course of this coursework, as well as the different ways that you can look at exceptional disabilities and how to look at the design for universal learning and how to implement differentiated instruction within the classroom. So to start out, we're going to talk about education, special education, and the universal design for learning and inclusion. So special education, a little brief overview, it's instruction specifically designed to address the unique needs of all students, including those that are eligible to receive special education services. So any students that have any kind of disabilities that require them to be in the special education field. Also, the universal design for learning is a way to provide means of representation, action and expression, as well as engagement within the classroom. So making sure that there are ways for your children in the classroom to feel represented and understood, as well as physical activities and things like that where children can be active and express themselves, as well as keeping students engaged within the classroom and how to keep students engaged within the classroom. So the universal design for learning is really a big key component of special education, and it fits into almost every different exceptional disability, as well as special education as a whole. So next, I'm just going to give you a little overview of what differentiated instruction is. It's an approach where teachers adjust their curriculum and instruction to maximize learning of all students. This can be average learners, gifted learners, students that struggle, students with disabilities. It fits on any type of academic classroom type area where there are students of all different learning abilities, and it's just where they can maximize curriculum and help the learning of all students in the classroom, not just a certain group. Next, we're going to talk about understanding students with learning disabilities and understanding students with communication disorders. So there are some characteristics to consider when working with students with different types of exceptionalities under the special education field. And those are social skills, cognitive development, intellectual skills, and academic skills. So socially speaking, like, do they interact well with other students? Can they focus? Can they be with other students in the classroom? And then cognitively, how they process things, as well as intellectual, where they're at with their intellectual ability, and then academically, where they stand along the academic guidelines. Next, I'm going to talk about understanding students with emotional or behavioral disorders, as well as students with ADHD. So socially, students with these types of disabilities will probably have trouble fitting in or making friends. It's a proven fact that students with ADHD really struggle with keeping friendships or making friendships. So I feel socially it's very important to make sure that there are students that can, with ADHD, that can be grouped with students that they feel comfortable with, and the students that they feel they can make friends with. It's just really important to make sure that they have a good social standing where they can feel comfortable in their learning environment. Cognitively speaking, a learning process for someone with emotional or behavioral disorders or ADHD, their processes can be a little slower, and they can have emotional issues or focusing issues. Their learning abilities are going to develop just a little bit slower because of their inability to focus or their inability to feel important in the classroom. Engagement, which is also part of the universal design of learning, is crucial, I feel like, for these types of students, because if your students are feeling engaged within the classroom and they feel like they have a place in the classroom and they're important, then they're going to learn better, and they're going to learn more information in the classroom if you're keeping them engaged and they feel engaged in the curriculum. So keeping their focus, or trying to keep their focus in students' cases with ADHD, is really key to making sure that all students are engaged and they like to learn what they're learning, and that they're interested in what they're learning. Intellectually and academically speaking, focusing on their feelings may be an issue, just because students that have emotional disorders may feel inferior to others, and they might have trouble intellectually, like expressing themselves in an academic type of situation. Students really just need to realize that they're important, and so is their education. So it's really important to make sure they feel comfortable so that they can express themselves intellectually within the classroom. It's just, they need to be able to keep focused, and they need to know that you're going to be there to help them keep that focus and feel like they're wanted within the classroom. They just need to know that their voice can be heard, and that you're there to help them, and that they can express themselves in any way that they feel beneficial to keep them intellectually and academically engaged. Next, I'm going to talk about students with traumatic brain injury and students with hearing loss, and just learning how to understand them from the characteristics standpoint. So socially, children with these disabilities are going to struggle with communication on a lot of different levels, just because of their traumatic brain injury, or the fact that they can't hear you sometimes. So I personally think that engagement is key with this one, as well as hands-on activities where students can feel and see things and do things together actively in order to understand what's going on around them. Also, cognitive development for children with traumatic brain injury is really going to vary depending on the injury. It can be really low, or they can have some better cognitive skills too. It just depends. Also, cognitive development and cognitive function can be lacking in students with hearing loss. You just need to be able to work at a pace that students are comfortable with and that they understand, so that they can increase their cognitive development and function. Intellectual and academically wise, I just think that it's important to help them grow even with their disability. Like, the sole purpose of all of this for any student with a disability is that they understand that they need to learn, and that it's important to learn, and that learning is fun. So each student deserves an equal opportunity to learn, and they just need to be helped along the intellectual and academic process. Help them understand what they're learning. Like, they're definitely going to struggle, but at the same time, if you're implementing the right processes in the classroom and you're trying to help them better themselves in the academic field, then they're going to want to learn, and they are going to improve. Next, I'm going to talk about students with visual impairments. So this can be full blindness, partial blindness, or even just students that need a little bit more glasses than students that just don't need, like, really weak glasses, I should say. I feel like I can speak to this because I wear glasses personally, but it's not enough to be considered a visual impairment. But I can imagine what it would be like, to not be able to see, because I sometimes have trouble, and I just feel for students with this type of disability. So from a social standpoint, due to their loss of sight, their social interaction can be difficult. They can have trouble with development skills, and they have low motivation due to the fact that they can't see the environment around them. This can really mess them up, because their development skills of their motor skills is lacking because of their inability to see things and take in the world. Intellectually and academically, students with impairments need specialized instruction. So this is focusing on communication skills, or mobility, or their social skills, or their living skills, as well as their skills in order to be in the classroom. And it's just really important to help students with this disability intellectually and academically through an expanded specialized instruction that includes many different types of skill adaptations that will help them. Next, we're going to talk about students that are gifted and talented. So this is a little bit different. These students are achieve above and beyond, obviously. They're very smart. They don't struggle very much academically. They excel. They're very bright intellectually. Most of the time, their cognitive function is really high. They understand things, and it's easy to process and develop certain things within the classroom for them. And everything just comes fairly natural. Socially, though, gifted students can struggle because they can be more emotionally sensitive than other students. Since they have a better understanding of what's going on around them, they can have trouble fitting in because they overthink things. They can just be excluded due to like coming off as bossy or rude, and even when they're not trying to be, just because that's how they are because of their gifted and talented abilities. So it's really important for students like this to spend time with other students that are gifted so that they can gain social skills and acceptance with other peers. Next, I just want to talk about applying all of the practices. So using differentiated instruction in the classroom is super important so that all students can benefit. The idea is to make sure that every student learns, no matter if they're disabled, they're average learners, or they're gifted. You want to differentiate that instruction within your classroom so that every student has a chance to learn everything to the best of their ability. Through the universal design, it's important to keep students engaged, make sure that they feel represented within the classroom, and that you're representing them to other students in the classroom in a positive light. And also just provide opportunities for action and expression in the classroom. Communication is a big thing with the universal design for instruction. I just think that communication is key when it comes to anything. So making sure that that communication and expression is very known in your classroom is really going to help. Every child's social skills and abilities should be kept in mind. That's a number one thing for every teacher to keep in mind as to what their child can handle socially, as well as how they process their thoughts and their cognitive development. It's important for them to have a cognitive development aspect because they're going to have to learn things from you. And the way they process that is really huge. And as a teacher, you have to see that and help them. Intellectually, you just need to understand where your students are at and help them learn and grow at a pace that fits them. So don't push them, but at the same time, help them grow at their own pace. And academically, just keep in mind what each child needs to do in order to achieve their academic goals. And just pay attention to the most effective practices that help each of them individually reach their goals. No one student is the same as the other, so it's important to keep that in mind when you're looking at things in an academic standpoint, because you're going to have some students that struggle with some things and some that are better. So you have to adapt your lessons in your classroom to the ways that are going to benefit every single student. So that's the end of my slideshow. I hope that I learned everything I needed to learn. I felt like this was a really beneficial class and that it's really going to help me in the teaching field. And I really enjoyed working with the Screencast-O-Matic and everything that involved the class. And I just hope that everyone has a great year.